All right, folks, we are back here on WLTH 1370 AM. I am Scott Cannon. Over there is Reverend Delwyn Campbell.
You know.
Yes, yes. And we're about to step in it now because we're about to talk about right here in the city of Gary, Indiana, and a lawsuit.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I want to provide some context to the audience if you guys haven't heard it, if you haven't seen this article or don't know exactly what's going on. Critics of the state takeover of Gary's public schools are renewing their attack in a new federal court suit. There is an attorney here in Gary named Tracy Coleman who is demanding a federal judge return control of the Gary Community School Corporation back to Gary residents. Attorney Coleman filed suit in the U.S. District Court over the weekend claiming Indiana officials violated Gary residents' civil rights in 2017 when they took over the debt-ridden schools. Attorney Coleman alleges that the Indiana Distress Unit Appeals Board, whose members are all white, discriminated against Gary's black population when it replaced locally elected school administration with a private management firm. She further alleges that the management firm illegally put a referendum before Gary voters last November to raise city taxes by more than $21 million over 8 years to help run Gary schools. The residents approved the referendum to raise their taxes by a 13,901 to 9,146 vote.
Yeah.
Miss Coleman is also suing the Lake County Voter Elections and Voter Registration Board. She's going straight scorched earth, I guess, which placed the referendum on the 2020 general election ballot. Now, this is the second time in less than a year that the federal court has been asked to deal with how the state is running the schools. Our activists here, Robert Buggs and Lorona Carter, complained last year the local election officials, the state imposed Gary school officials do not have the authority to conduct referendum. Didn't you say the same thing, Rev?
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering about that myself.
Yeah.
But here we are. The one thing in all of this, we're in this situation, and it seems like there's no way out of it.
Right.
We find ourselves having a Gary Community School Corporation that we have no input regarding.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Dr. Williams were talking about this yesterday. Why would the state of Indiana want to take over Gary School District? Was it really about the bad grades? And I'm sure that there are bad grades in school districts, in various places. Or is it about the money?
Mm.
And I can't help but think this is about the money.
Right.
That they didn't like Gary being in huge degree of debt to the state.
Right.
And seemingly no one who was elected having a care in the world about that fact. They were just living their lives and doing their thing and being on the board. And it somehow came to look like to the state like they were just living the life of Riley.
Mm-hmm.
And going deeper in debt. And so they decided they was going to, take over. But how do we get out of this situation now that we're in it? Because it doesn't seem like the state has taken a personal interest in the sense of, all right, we've taken over and we're going to show everybody else how to do it right.
Right.
Because things aren't getting any better.
Right.
But at least they're not worrying about the money, I guess, being wasted on the personal lifestyles of the members of the elected school board, because they're paying MGT,
right,
however much they're paying them, and that's all they're going to get is what they're paying them.
Right, and I personally, I'll cop to it. I was here, I have to play commercials every day, and I was listening when the referendum was happening. I'm playing a commercial. They saying vote yes on the referendum. If you want the city of Gary to be able to have schools again. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, cool. And so I listened to the commercials every day, and then I voted for it because they told me to, and then afterward I felt like the rug was kind of pulled from up under me
Uh-huh.
because, as you said before, they weren't supposed to have that type of power in the first place. They weren't supposed to be able to. The city of Gary, they like we're obligated to have a school a school system just by existing.
Yeah.
And but that's not how it was presented. I don't believe it was presented that way.
Yeah. I mean,
Hold
we
on, caller.
our kids have to go to school. That's state
Right,
law. The state has to make sure that our kids are educated.
they do.
That's state law. But beyond that, it's pretty open to, how it gets accomplished. And whether it was all run through the state directly or it was done by individual school districts, that's kind of open.
Right,
But it's insofar as those school districts enable the legal requirements to be met, okay, it's all good.
right.
But what happens if the legal requirements aren't being met? What happens if it's being shown that the kids in a particular locality are not getting an education? Well, now somebody's got to take the fall.
Mm, right. Let me get this caller.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, caller.
Yes, I'm listening to your program,
Yes.
Well, that's
and
good. That's a good thing.
I am really pleased that a lawyer has come in to take this to court
Right.
because it needs to be done.
Hmm.
As to what's going on with the public schools, and we had almost 2 years to get proper schools for the children. My thing is, it was always about money. I did not vote for that referendum. How can people that don't even live in the city know what's going on in the city except for there is money? There was money to be gotten. Now they're talking about they don't have the part for the air conditioning in the schools.
Yeah.
At the same time, it could have been totally revamped. I don't know what happened to that 84 million dollars that was allotted for Gary. But what I do know is that these things could have been fixed before the children went back to school.
Okay.
It is shameful.
Well, okay. I'm gonna agree with you that these things could have been fixed, and I guess you could reasonably make the argument that it should have been fixed. I'm not sure that anything any different would have happened if we hadn't been controlled by the DUAP. But my biggest concern is that once the DUAP took control, you would have thought that they would have been operating on the premise of these folks. They don't seem to know how to run a school district. Let us show them how it's supposed to be done, so that we're not going to be stuck with them as a millstone around our neck for the rest of eternity. That
I,
doesn't seem to
I,
be what what they were thinking to do. That doesn't seem to be what's motivated them for their exit strategy. It doesn't seem like they have an exit strategy, if you will. And
they don't have a strategy at all.
I'm not sure that the other side has one, other than they don't like the current status quo. But I get it for all, I don't know
Thing
Mr.
is,
Ruggs that well
it is
to speak
going.
good or ill, but he
A
was in
lawyer has
charge.
been here, and I'm hoping that the person is young. I don't know anything about this lawyer, but for what is being presented to the court, it needs to go to the court.
Tracy Coleman, I know her,
Hmm.
and I know that she's very concerned about it. I mean, she's got a child that's in the public school system, goes to West Side.
That's good. That's
She's
good.
active at West Side High. But again, uh, we started out running our school district.
Hmm.
We were in charge of our school district, and it got to where it is. Now, a lot of things cause it to get where it is. Uh, we're an old city. You have an old city with old schools, old buildings eventually wear out.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, man.
That's why you're here.
With the money that has come, the 83, 84 million dollars,
Okay.
and the time that children were out of school,
Yeah.
Hmm.
they could have built brand new state-of-the-art schools for children instead of trying to fix that nothing that can be fixed.
Yeah. But see, someone would have to make the decision to build a new school. Now, I
Right.
don't know.
Who makes that decision?
See, at this point, right now, the way things are, apparently no one.
Right.
Oh my God.
DUAB doesn't make that decision. MGT doesn't make that decision. The school board doesn't make that decision. And maybe part of it is the problem is we are in such debt that's not right now. That's not a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Well, isn't the monies that are there supposed to be able to alleviate some of the problems? I'm so tired of hearing that there's no money. There's no money. I know that's been going on for about 10 years.
Yeah, and every
The
year they've
last
been getting
children were
money.
in school. It was in the wintertime. Roosevelt School was still open, and they didn't have heat.
Now
Right.
you do know that every year
Now it's the warm weather with the schools and
they
stuff.
don't have air.
Pretty
Yeah.
soon it'll be wintertime again, and they're talking about waiting on a part for the air conditioners. Now, come on, I'm not that savvy with internet and everything, but those ones that are in charge should be. You can get on the. I see the commercials on TV
Yeah,
as far as fixing air conditioners.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Seemingly it would be.
you're waiting on a part.
Seems like it'll be a simple, but you know what though? That problem does not only exist with regard to air conditioning. I don't know what kind of car you drive, but I get emails all the time wanting me to bring my car in because the automobile industry is lacking
Yeah.
computer chips.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that.
Okay,
The logistics chain
I have an
is
old
really
car,
okay. You
a
probably aren't getting that
2007
email then.
a
But
Yeah. They've run out of
2007
chips.
Cruiser.
They even had to shut down. They had to shut down the Ford plant
yeah,
over there.
so the logistics chain
Well,
has
I can kind of understand with everything worldwide economy.
yeah,
I'm looking at the stores
Yeah.
as far as the shelves being
yeah.
empty. Where does everything come from? Without me saying, because I don't get real political.
Right.
But everything comes from China. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even our food.
Right.
So
not
there
our
are a
food.
lot of problems, but I'm concerned about the community of Gary. I have no grandchildren, and my daughter is good and grown.
Right.
And I have nieces and nephews and everything, but they left Gary a long time ago.
So, can't blame them.
And basically, we need to be involved with our young people, our babies, and everything because they've got to come up. My neighborhood boy,
How long have you lived here in Gary?
70 years.
70 years. Okay, so in 70 years, you've seen Gary go from
I've seen a
city
lot.
Yeah.
where it had a solid public school system,
Yes,
One of the best in
Two-
America.
Yes.
wait a minute, two solid parochial systems, the Roman Catholic and the
Yes.
Lutheran.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was
Mhm.
getting educated. Everybody was able to go to college. Everybody was able to succeed. To where we are now, where we have a school system that is a shadow of itself.
Yep.
One parochial system has completely left the city.
I have
The other one is trying to reestablish itself.
from when I
And
was
how did we get
kindergarten,
here?
Mhm.
right here in Gary.
Yeah. So how did we get here? Because we were in charge of this at one time.
Yeah.
We're in charge of nothing. And I want to use the word disenfranchised.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is with Gary. I don't really have family members here, distant cousins. Well, I have some cousins,
Mhm.
but once I've been packing up my things for the past almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're gonna stay in boxes until I put my finger on the map as to where I want to go. But I watch enough news to see what is going on. Not it's worse here in Gary to me. You know, we're next door to Chicago, and they can build new schools. As to the children having to go back to school with this heat, I feel that children should have access to the internet. They should have access to computers. And I was talking to my neighborhood boy, and he was telling me that they had to close the schools because of COVID.
Right.
Now, I can get real deep on some issues, but I'm not going to do that right now.
Well, we had to go to a next caller. But
yeah, that's what I kind of figured.
Yeah, thank you for your call.
Do it again now.
Yeah, please call in anytime.
My name is Drusilla. What's yours again?
I am Scott Cannon. Over there is Reverend Delwyn Campbell.
That's us.
Campbell.
Yes.
Okay, I do know the name.
Well, there's a few of us in town.
Yes, yes.
Oh, there was another thing I wanted to touch on. As far as children being obese,
yes,
socioeconomic, and all like this,
mm-hmm.
I know that I had aunts. My mother was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
But I had aunts, my grandmothers. They worked,
mm-hmm.
and at the time they were working in other people's homes.
Right.
They got to come home and fix a meal. So as to young women today, I know what I went through as far as raising my only child.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I was going to the university. Food was cooked. Because I grew up with, you cook. And I still do.
There you go.
Right.
Oh, so there's no excuse for kids to eat junk.
Right.
All right.
All right. Thank you for your call. We got to get to this other caller. Hello, caller.
Hi, how y'all doing this afternoon?
All
We good.
good,
We
man.
good. How about you?
Okay, you know what? I was listening to the last caller, but you know what? I agree. You know what? This is what really bugs me. Because as you said, Pastor, the school board, before all of this craziness happened with our district, we were in charge. It was us. It was us. It was not MGT. They did not come and knock on your door and say, you know what? We need to come in here. They didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
We did that.
Yeah. I mean,
Am I right?
Even with the charter school situation.
That's what I'm saying. We did that.
Yeah.
We did it. We can't blame anyone really but ourselves. We did that. That school board that they had, they was doing all kind of craziness. And every time you turn around, we're running short of money. We're running short of money. What would we do with all the money? But you know what? I tell you what I did when I was working on my bachelor's. I think one of the things. I think it was my bachelor's. One of the things I had a class of budgeting and finance. And so we had to look at an organization. And so I looked at the school district, our district, and I went and people don't realize it's a lot of expenses in it. And this was one of our problems.
Right.
One of our problems, we had too many schools open. We really did. Honest to goodness, we really did.
Right.
Because our population was declining. And for example, I'll give you an example. At that time, Roosevelt had like 800 and some students in the whole building, but that building was meant to hold almost over 2,000 children.
Right.
So
and I remember sometimes when the graduating class, now I graduated in the 70s. And at that time, some of the graduating classes at Roosevelt was 700 and 800 kids. That's just the truth. But our population as far as schools were declining. And at this time, so I'm thinking this was in the early 2000s, Roosevelt had like 800 and some children, and it was meant to hold almost over 2,000 students.
Right.
Westside was meant to hold, Westside had most children. He had like 1,400 students, and they was meant to hold 3,000. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. And then you had some schools like Wallace, and you had all of those schools were open. And remember what you have to think about. The budget for those schools were outrageous. NIPSCO, when I went down and I looked at the books, they were paying out over $1 million a year for NIPSCO.
Wow.
And you had heating, water and sewage. They get bills just like you get at home.
Right.
They do. And that they hadn't even paid a teacher, hadn't even paid staff. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was, and then I don't know truly don't know what those folks were doing, but they were always running downstate. We're running out of money. So pretty soon, if you're a person who is giving money to someone, you're gonna want to know what y'all doing with the money.
Right.
We gave you some X amount of dollars. Now what are y'all doing with the money?
Right. Now,
They
you
were
know what?
taking they were taking trips.
Oh, dear.
They were doing all kinds of things. Honest to goodness, check it out.
Now, sis, I'm going to say this. I don't usually spend a whole lot of time on what happened in the past because we can't do nothing about it.
That's
But
right.
I do have the question. All right, where do we go from here? And I've asked
See,
this
that's
question
my point.
before.
Now here's my point. Here's my point right here, Pastor. My point is this. Okay, so you go to court, you get rid of MGT. Now what are you gonna do? Give it to the same back to them people?
Right.
So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, where's that?
You
what
gonna
have
give
we
it back
what
to
have
these
we
people and let
learned
them people
from
run
this?
it again?
Yeah, what have we learned from this?
Right.
See, I don't know. What do you do? Because do you trust these folks that's gonna get in there and gonna do right, or they're gonna get in there and treat it like this is our money and we're gonna do what we want to do? Because that's what was happening. That's what you have to think about. I'm not saying right or wrong what's being done, but I do know, and I do know when I heard Dr. Page, she was on the radio one day, and she was talking about this heat problem that they were having. I know it's at Bailey School. It's at Bailey School.
Uh-huh.
They were having the problem dealing with the heat, so they're having the children to work from home because they're working on getting this cooling system in right now in the building. So they said that so she said that they had ordered the part way back in March. And I heard a lot of other people that was calling in saying the same thing, almost what you all were saying. People was having trouble getting parts because of COVID. A lot of things were backed up.
Right.
Been backed up.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit here and criticize. I'm just trying to look at it like you said, from a positive perspective. Where do we go from here? And if indeed you go to court, you get it out of MGT, then what are you going to do?
Yeah, because we're still going to be with a school board that has not been practicing being an elected school board now for a few years.
Yeah.
But my point is, there was an elected school board. So my point is again, do you trust them? Do you trust them to do the right thing? What do we go from here?
Yeah.
Right.
As people, this is our city. And another thing, I asked too several times about why not we should build a new building, because I think Westside was the last new school that was built, high school that was built.
Yeah, that's 1970.
Yeah, but they said they could not. That money could not be used to build a new building. All they could do is make repairs, and that's what they've been doing to a lot of these buildings.
Right.
Is trying to make repairs to them because they cannot. You have to watch. You just because you get federal dollars in there, you got to do what they say you have to do with those dollars to be able to have access to that money.
Right.
So they will not, and it cannot be used to build a new school.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for your call. We got to get to this last caller before we have to get out of here. Hello, caller.
Okay, good evening. How you all doing?
Hello.
No matter. Is that brother Prothro?
No, this is Reverend Delwyn Campbell.
Okay. You said Reverend Campbell?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Reverend Campbell, and both of you all.
Yep.
Now, Reverend, you've been minister for quite a while, right?
Yeah, I have.
So you know what that thief would do, right?
What? Who do?
A thief, good Reverend.
A thief. Okay.
Good Reverend.
I'm trying
The
to
purpose
talk
of that
fast.
thief is to rob, steal, and even kill, right?
Yeah.
Now that thief, you put that thief over something. You don't think that thief can figure out how to steal it?
You're right.
Back.
You're right.
Back.
All right.
Okay. He is quick that way. I noticed
Yes,
that
he
about
is.
him.
We got to get to this last caller.
All righty.
Hello, caller.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? It's me again.
Hello, me again.
Actually, what I said,
You only got a few seconds because we got to go.
Okay. The school board anybody should not be able to run. That should be a set standard of qualification
Okay.
as far as being able to run and even run for the school board.
I agree.
And the school, pardon?
I agree.
Before it was just anyone in the neighborhood. If you knew a lot of people, you could be on the school board. It would vote you in.
Yeah.
Basically, almost the same thing on the city council. But the bottom line is, there should be a line of drawn qualifications.
But now, here's the other side of that, though. It's an elected position. And so it's really up to the electorate to set those standards and say, this is what we'll accept, and anything other than this, we won't accept.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. I agree with that. But I'm just saying that has been the problem in the past.
All right.
It's always been a popularity contest. It's always been like a beauty pageant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who do we like, and who tickled our fancy, and that's who got elected. Well, You can't do that if you want a competent school board to run your school district.
Yes.
Even in terms of being able to make the decisions to hire the administrative staff who's going to do the actual day-to-day running. Well, they've got to be people that know how to determine what to look for, what to weed out, and what will work for them, and be able to monitor this. Look, I'm on a school board right now for our church's school, and I had to do a lot of learning of getting up to speed on what it meant to run a school. I didn't come to it knowing that stuff, but I had to learn it, and we're not getting paid, so we're not getting rich off it. Our whole point is to get that school running and growing and expanding. So far, we're doing pretty good. We're up to 6th grade. Hope to get 7th and 8th. But you got to have people that are in those kind of jobs, public sector jobs, public service, whose primary purpose of being there is to look out for the interest of that community, not building their own nest egg or their own legacy or the stepping stone to more political greatness.
Right. I absolutely agree. I'm sorry, caller. Show is over, and we didn't go to a break, so we're gonna have to get to these commercials. So the show is over. All right, folks. Please.
But we'll be back next Friday.
We will be back next Friday. You can call us then. You can chop it up with me on Twitter at the Chemist Lives. Chemist spelled with the K, as I'm a product of the Gary Community School System. We can talk about politics, music, sports. You can tell me how terrible I am at this. Where can they find you, Rev?
Well, you can find me on Facebook at Del Campbell, and we can continue the conversation there if you like. Please
Yes,
do.
get at him on Facebook.
Get with him on Twitter. Continue the conversation.
At the Chemist Lives.
Yes. You can also find me at St. John's Evangelical Lutheran Church on 10th and Taft at 9 o'clock Sunday. Good Shepherd Lutheran Church on 719 West 25th Avenue at 11 o'clock on Sunday. And above all, well, actually, a new place starting Monday.
Wow.
I'm getting up early in the morning, Scott.
Wow.
Early in the morning to hang out with Jeff and do breakfast. And we'll continue this conversation some more if you like.
Yes.
And of course, we'll be back here Friday.
Yes. Same bad time, same bad channel. So for station owner Marion Williams, station manager Natalie Ammons, and Reverend Delwyn Campbell, I am Scott Cannon. This is Issues and Answers on WLTH 1370 AM. God bless the working class. God bless labor and Rev.
God bless you.
Yeah.